Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to react to a channel called Turbos and Talks. It is a Dutch guy from what I've understood. And the title of the video is Why the New Dutch Dream is Leaving the Netherlands. And I'm like very curious of what reasons he's going to tell us, what reasons he has for saying that's going to be the new Dutch dream to leave the Netherlands. And I'm going to react to it. Let's go.
Alright guys, what's going on? So I'm a Dutchman. I was born and grew up in the Netherlands.
Okay,
Dutch is my first language. And today I'm going to tell you why the new Dutch dream is leaving the Netherlands. Why Dutch people decide to either move abroad or never come back. Which is my case. I'm not in the Netherlands at the moment. I left 30 years ago and never returned to the Netherlands.
30 years already. Okay. He's not saying where he lives though. I'm wondering about that now. But let's go.
So there are reasons for that, of course. Here is my homework. As you can see, here are all the problems the Netherlands currently have and the reasons why. You will see people online, Dutch people online, moving to Sweden, to Norway,
I heard about
some
that.
even to France, some to Spain or to Asia and plenty of other countries, okay?
Yeah.
So here we go with the first reason, and in my opinion the biggest reason why living in the Netherlands is difficult nowadays is a housing crisis, okay? So first, accommodation is difficult to find. So even though you have the money, even though you have a job, everything, it's difficult to find accommodation. For example, I, as a Dutch person not living in the Netherlands at the moment, the most difficult part for me, and the main reason why it would be difficult for me to come back even as a Dutch person, is finding proper accommodation. It's difficult.
I agree with this point. I totally agree 100%. We have a housing crisis. It's not even funny anymore. That's the reason why my son, which is he is almost 30 years old, still lives with me. And it has different reasons though. It's not because he doesn't want to live on his own. That's not the case. It's because he does not get any house. There are people that have to I've heard from people that are on the waiting list over 10 years already and still don't have a house. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And let's not talk about the cost of living. But hey, yes, housing crisis, absolutely. Let's continue.
Difficult, okay? Sometimes you have a waiting list and the prices are just very high, okay? Way too high, especially for what you get. The poor value for money as well, you know? Yeah. In the Netherlands, you pay high rent prices. It's difficult to find even a place to live in, and if you want to buy a house, buy an apartment, the prices are just too expensive, especially for what you get, okay? The value for money is very poor. So usually if you work, and if you are a couple, you are both working, you have kids, if you are a middle-class person, you do live in British English they call it terraced houses, and in American English row houses, okay?
Row houses, yeah. Rijtjeshuis. That's Dutch. Rijtjeshuis is in Dutch. Row houses, yes. A lot of people live in there, yeah. Yeah, that's what you get when you're a family with like 2 kids or something.
Okay, so these are small little houses.
Yeah,
in
normal
a
house.
Suburb far away. There's nothing to do there except you know, sleeping, you know. So these are very small houses, nothing special. And yeah, that's all what you can get basically if you are a middle-class Dutch person. And the reason why, my parents back in the days left the Netherlands in the mid-90s, so I followed because I was still a kid, you know. They moved to France because for a price of a terraced or a row,
he's living in France. Okay.
House in the Netherlands, you could get a farm in France, you know. Even buy multiple properties back then, a big house.
That's true though. I've heard that many times. For the amount of money you can have like a row house here, like they call them apparently row houses. For the same money, you can buy like a villa in another country Like, I don't know if it's Spain or Portugal or whatever country. You can buy a villa there. And that's true. I've heard that many times. It's insane, isn't it?
Have, you know, a lot of space, a lot of rooms. And yeah, it was just a better deal to move to France back then, even 30 years ago. And now it's getting only worse. So yeah, next. The Netherlands is overpopulated. So it has always been the case, you know?
Yes.
Even in the 90s, it was already, you know, populated, you know. There were already traffic jams, a lot of crowds in big cities, especially in the Randstad, you know, around Rotterdam and, you know, Amsterdam.
Yeah, of course. If you were talking about big cities like Amsterdam, Utrecht, Rotterdam, yes, those places are crowded as F. I have to admit, I went to Amsterdam for my vlogging. I want to explore Amsterdam and recorded it for my viewer, for my subscribers. So I've been to Amsterdam and it is so crowded. I agree with that. But then I will say, don't live in a big city. It's simple as that. If you live in a smaller city or village, you don't have that problem so much. So for me, this issue is, where do you live within the Netherlands?
The city I was born in, or at least close to Amsterdam. But now it's getting only worse, you know. The country is accepting more and more migrants. So yeah, the housing crisis is getting only worse. The cost of living is only getting only worse.
That's true. And the fact that, first of all, we are a tiny country. Yes, you can see it on the map. Look at the map. We are just tiny. We're not the tiniest country, but we are tiny. And yes, there's a lot of people living here. And I agree. It's also, and it's not, I don't want to be negative about it. I am not a racist. I'm not discriminating at all. But I do have to say, because we are so tolerant for immigrants, like everyone can come inside the Netherlands. You can all live here, an open border. And because of that, the Netherlands is getting way more crowded than it used to be. So more and more people coming here to the Netherlands, immigrate here, or expats that think, okay, this life here is better than the USA, which I can understand though. I can understand, and they're all welcome here. I'm welcoming, but because of that, it's such a tiny country, is getting fuller and fuller and fuller. So yeah. But me, myself, I don't experience where I live, and I don't live in a small city, but I also don't live in a very large city like Amsterdam. I'm living in Almere, which is like a half hour away from Amsterdam. It's still big, in my opinion, but I don't experience it like, oh my God, why is it so crowded here? I don't have the issue. Personally, but okay, I get his point. Netherlands is getting fuller and fuller, yes.
And it comes with other problems I'm gonna cover later on. But yeah, too many people in a small country. The Netherlands is too small. It's a very small country, and yeah, there are only more and more people living in this small, little, tiny country, and that's a problem. It's overpopulated. So if you don't like traffic jams, which I don't like, if you don't like to see crowds everywhere, if you want to enjoy nature without having to see people everywhere, the Netherlands is not for you. You know, it's not the right country to be in. It's flat. It's a pretty boring place when it comes to landscapes. No mountains.
That's a personal opinion, to be honest. For me, that's personal. Yes, the Netherlands is flat. Yes, it is. That's just a fact. It's geography. We are flat. We came out of the bloody sea. I mean, what do you expect? Us having millions of mountains here? Yes, we are flat. And I think a lot of people do appreciate it being flat, because the benefit of a country that's so flat as the Netherlands is we love our cycling a lot. Personally, I'm not a fan of cycling. Yes, I'm a Dutch person that doesn't like to cycle. What a miracle. But yeah, I don't like cycling. But a lot of people do in the Netherlands. And be happy that we are a flat country. We can cycle everywhere, and it doesn't take so much effort. Imagine us having mountains in the way, and we love our cycling. Maybe we probably would not love cycling that much anymore if we had a lot of mountains, maybe. We will not be a country that is full of bicycles. Maybe it's because we are flat. That can also be the case. I don't know. Never thought about that. But you can look very far ahead. And some people really love that. That's the benefit of flat country. So easier to cycle. You can see very far. It's just your personal taste. Yes, we do. I don't have any mountains, but okay. And I love mountains, by the way. But let's continue.
Mountains and so on. I'm gonna cover this later on, but anyway, overpopulated. As I was saying, but now I'm gonna get into details. The high cost of living compared to the wages.
Okay. High cost of living, totally, 100% agree. It's ridiculous, guys. And they blame it, as far as I know, because I don't watch the news anymore. All the drama and negativity I don't want in my life. So I decided to not watch. And I think a lot of things are fake in the media anyways. But the cost of living here is very high. What they say due to something to do with Russia and the war, etc. And that's why we have our prices are going through the roof. It is true. Every time when I walk into a supermarket here, which is the cheapest supermarket, one of the cheapest supermarkets you can go into in the Netherlands, it's called the Lidl. If you could go in the Lidl, I still have a high bill. Do you say bill? Well, you still have high prices. I take let's say 4 things, let's say 5 things, 5 products from the supermarket I have in my basket. Yeah. And I go to register and I pay. Would not surprise me if it's over €20 for bloody 5 articles. It's ridiculous. I remember a time, and I'm talking about a couple of years ago. I remember, for example, peanut butter. Yeah? Buying a jar of peanut butter from their own brand, not a specific brand of Calvé, but just their own brand, so the cheap version. It used to be €1. It's like over €2 right now. It's at least doubled. Everything is at least doubled, in my opinion. So yeah, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And the problem with it is the wages didn't get higher. So yes, people get into problems because of that. Because if you don't compensate the wages, if you don't get higher wages to compensate the higher prices of the cost of living, like groceries, for example, yeah, that's an issue. I agree. Let's continue.
Okay, so wages used to be quite good in the Netherlands. They are still good, don't get me wrong.
The wages are still good, but the prices of the cost of living is higher, and they did not compensate for it, and that's the issue.
But they were, way better than neighbor countries back in the days. Now, neighboring countries are getting better when it comes to wages. It's still Western Europe, so don't get me wrong. Still wages are still good here. Standard of living is still quite good in Western Europe. But yeah, the cost of living is getting so high in the Netherlands Not only real estate, but even, you know, groceries are getting more expensive. Cars are especially expensive in the Netherlands, which is a con for me because I like cars. And owning a car in the Netherlands is way more expensive than in France, for example, or even in Germany. They are expensive to buy as well. That's why.
That I don't know, because I don't have a car. I don't have a driver's license, so I have no clue what the prices are for cars these days. Would not surprise me if that went. I think everything went up. Not only the groceries. I think everything. Let's not even talk about the prices for energy. The energy prices went through the roof over here. It's ridiculous. It's something that people could not even pay. Even if you had a good salary, you could not even pay your electric bill because those prices went through the roof. And now it's like gas is more expensive. It doesn't stop. And I'm sometimes really thinking, when does it stop? You can't tell me that you keep on raising the prices of the groceries up and up and up. People, and you don't compensate their wages or their income, people will get bankrupt. It's ridiculous. But I do think, I'm not 100% sure, but I do think we are not the only country dealing with those higher prices, or are we? Let me know if you live in another country in Europe and if you have the issues of the cost of living now being higher than it used to be. Let me know.
Some Dutch people try to buy, you know, cars in Spain or a lot in Germany, for example, and there are laws in place to make it difficult for Dutch people to, you know, to buy cars abroad and bring them to the Netherlands, you know. But anyway, taxes. It doesn't make sense, you know. It's not an upgrade for me to move to the Netherlands at this point. Not saying everything is bad about the Netherlands. There are a lot of good things about the Netherlands.
Yes, there are a lot of good things about the Netherlands, and I think we should appreciate those kind of things more than we do. Yes, there are problems in the Netherlands, but there are also good things.
It's okay. I'm not saying, you know, you shouldn't move there because,
exactly.
You know, for example, the mentality, I think Dutch mentality has good things. When it comes to business, to the work culture is better in the Netherlands and so on.
Yes. What about the work-life balance is awesome here. Our benefits are pretty good, etc. Yeah, there's a lot of good things in the Netherlands.
Opportunities there when it comes to work. It's a very dynamic country and so on. I'm not saying it's a bad country overall, but when it comes to the cost, you know, the cost, what you earn and the cost, you know, of living ratio, it's pretty bad nowadays. Doesn't make sense.
Next point.
Next, if you are an entrepreneur, if you are not working for somebody else, which is my case, high taxes. Taxes in the Netherlands are high.
Yes, taxes are high in the Netherlands, but there's a but. We get in return very good infrastructure, good public transport, maybe not in some little villages, but hey, overall, we get quality in return for our high taxes though. I mean, look at our roads and the buildings and our public transport system and everything. Like, it is because of we pay a lot of high taxes. We get that in return. I mean, look at America. They have high taxes and they get nothing in return. They have like crappy this and crappy that. So what are they doing with your money? At least we can say in the Netherlands, they do something with it. I'm just saying, yes, it is not nice to pay high taxes. I agree. For people that work, have a job, or are entrepreneur or whatever, or have their own business, yes, you pay high taxes. And it's never nice to pay high taxes. I agree. But at least we get something in return. I'm just saying.
Slightly lower than in France. It depends what you are doing, but slightly lower still, but still high. So why would you quit why would you, leave a high-taxed country if the Netherlands are high-taxed as well? Okay, today. Next, more and more crime. Okay. So I've been saying it in a lot of my videos, but here in France, of course, it's getting worse as well, in Belgium as well.
More crime? Is that true, guys? If you're Dutch, let me know. For me personally, in my personal life, I don't notice that so much. I notice other things though, because I don't live in a very good neighborhood. Not the worst either, so it's like a bit in between. The only thing I notice here is a lot of pollution suddenly going on. I mean, we have like a container underground for trash. So you can just open the lid, put your bag in, and it disappears in the ground, basically. And lately, it's been worse though. I mean, has gone worse. That's what I'm trying to say. Years ago, it was not like that. But now it's ridiculous. Every time when I go with my trash, with my trash bag, do you say it like that? I guess so. With my bag of trash, if I walk towards the container to put my bag in, around the container is so much trash. People throwing trash bags, and not even bags, but their table and their chairs and everything they trash next to it. So what happens? All those trash bags are being opened by animals, by cats or whatever, and all the filth is going over the street, and it's a mess. It's a mess. That's the only thing I noticed lately in the last 3 years. Just naming a time because I don't know exactly when it started. In the last couple of years, it's getting worse and worse. And even when there's warnings there, if you do that, you get a fine. People don't care. There are people that, because this container here, underground container for the trash, is purely for the people living here. So for the people living in this apartment where I'm living in, maybe for the apartment across from me, it's only for the people living here. But what happens is people drive their car from other streets and dump their trash next to the container here. It's ridiculous. But crime? Yeah, it's a crime. It's a nature crime, though. If you look at it like that, it's a crime for nature crime. But like he means crime in another way. I do not notice it in my personal life so much, but it doesn't mean that the problem is not there. So I don't know. I will hold myself back from having an opinion about that, because I really don't know if it went up or not.
But in the Netherlands, it's no better. You know, it's maybe slightly safer than France, but there's still a lot of crime. Stabbings happen, rapes happening there as well. Yeah, when it comes to crime, it's not getting better either. So
I think it also depends. Sorry, I have to do this, and I want to say something about it. I think it also depends on how you are as a person. What I'm trying to explain is, if I look at myself, for example, I don't bother my neighbors don't bother me. I don't complain about my neighbors. They don't complain about me so much. Even when I'm sometimes annoyed by them drilling in the house, and not like one day, but like days in a row, and I'm like very annoyed by it because I'm trying to watch something and I can barely hear it because of all the noise I hear, or loud music sometimes. Not much, I have to say, not many times, but it happens. I don't complain about it. I'm like, yeah, well, we all live here and we have to do our thing, you know? So if you are a person that is not bothering other people or complain so much towards other people, you get less into problems too. I just want to throw that out, you know? I'm not saying that if you do everything correct, it cannot happen to you. Of course, there's still people that will stab you, maybe. But I do think the chances are higher if you are a different person. I'm just, because of your attitude. That's what I want to say.
Another reason to leave the Netherlands, okay? It's not a safe place anymore. At least not what it used to be. You know, I see that...
Yeah, okay, not what it used to be. Okay, I can see that.
Netherlands, when I grew up in the Netherlands in the 80s and the 90s.
Oh my God, don't talk about the... I was born in 1970. And I have to admit, if I look back at the 70s, the 80s and the 90s, especially 70s and 80s, my childhood, I have to admit it was way better then. But are we not used to say that all the time to our children? It was way better when I was young. We always say that. But as a matter of fact, it is true though. If we look at everything going on right now and everything that went on in the 70s and the 80s, talking about safety, prices, all those kind of things, it was way better then. I have to admit, and I have to agree with him, if you compare the safety feeling of the 70s and 80s in the Netherlands compared to now the 2000s, 2025, yeah, there's a difference. Absolutely is a difference.
I see the Netherlands as a fairy tale, you know, country. Very safe. Of course, I see it in my kid eyes. And yeah, back in the days it was different. But now I have to admit it's getting, getting only worse.
But still, we are not that bad regarding crimes. Because we can still walk across the street. We can still let our kids play outside. If you compare that to America, for example, we are very safe. We don't have stuff like school shootings or that we have to stay in our home and the kids cannot even play outside because it's too dangerous. We don't have a police officers that are very aggressive, or, you know, I'm just saying compared to some other countries, the Netherlands is quite safe. But looking at Netherlands standard, if you look at it like that, through the eyes of a Dutch person, through your own country, yes, it was way more safer before.
Next reason why people leave the Netherlands, you have to fly out. That's a good reason, and one of the main reasons I don't go back to the Netherlands as well. You have to fly out to have room and enjoy nature. So as I was saying, the Netherlands is a small country. It's flat. The nature there is pretty boring.
That's a personal opinion you're giving there. You think that the nature in the Netherlands is boring? I would not call it boring myself, but I do understand, I think, what he's trying to say without saying it's boring, because that's really an opinion, personal opinion. But I do understand the fact that nature-wise, the Netherlands is maybe not that grand. If I look at other countries, for example, and look at their nature, I do think that's so beautiful. Like myself, I love mountains, and I love beautiful blue lakes and waterfalls and beautiful forests. And yes, we don't really have that in the Netherlands. So I do understand if you're a nature lover and you want like diversity in nature and like real nature and not like all plant trees like we have in the Netherlands mostly. Yes, the Netherlands is maybe not your country. So yeah, I understand what he's trying to say though. But I would not call it boring. I do think we have beautiful nature in the Netherlands also, but it's just different. We have different nature, if you get my point. But I do agree. I mean, sorry, I wanted to talk Dutch. I would love to live in a country with beautiful mountains, but it's because I love mountains, and we don't have mountains here.
The Netherlands is like a never-ending big city. Okay.
A never-ending big city.
So if you like mountains, if you like to go out for a hike,
I love
if you like to be in the middle of nowhere, if you you like to drive for hours, and you enjoy road trips, for example, the Netherlands is not for you.
No.
The Netherlands is basically Amsterdam, Rotterdam, one big city nowadays. Traffic jams, a lot of crowds everywhere. You have got a little bit more room in the eastern part of the country, but nothing special.
I don't know, guys.
So yeah, if you like mountains, if you like the sea, but there's still the North Sea, but it's not the best sea on Earth.
Why is the North Sea not the best sea in the world? What's wrong with the North Sea? Is it too little? Is it too dirty? What's the reason? I don't understand that. But okay, I never thought about that. It's not the most beautiful sea. There must be a reason for it, and maybe if he would explain why it's not the best sea, I would probably agree. I don't know, because I don't know his reasoning. But there's still a lot of people in the Netherlands that love the fact that it's flat and our nature. So I think it's still also personal. If you don't like mountains, if you don't care about nature that much, because there's still people that don't care about that much, then it's fine in the Netherlands. You would be fine. Me, myself, I love mountains. I would love to live in Switzerland or Austria, for example. Beautiful countries. Nature-wise, amazing. Amazing. But okay.
It's cold and still crowded. If you want to enjoy nature, you have to fly out, take a plane ticket, and fly to, I don't know, Spain, France, Scandinavia, Austria, for example. Austria is another popular destination among Dutch people nowadays. Or you have to drive to southern France, because northern France is no better than the Netherlands. It's pretty boring there as well. So yeah, southern France, Spain, southern Germany, Austria, Scandinavia, okay?
Switzerland.
And, yeah. So keep that take that into consideration. If you're not a city person, the Netherlands could become quite old quickly, okay? And next reason why the Netherlands is not really appealing, it's the weather. So
okay, this is the biggest complaint from, I think, a lot of Dutch people. The weather. We do love to complain about the weather in the Netherlands. And why? It's because there's a lot of rain, gray sky, but not always though. Not always, like now, for example, the last couple of days, bloody hot. But yes, we do complain about the weather. But I have to say something about it, just my personal view on it. Since I'm a spiritual person, the last couple of years, I'm beginning to think differently about it. I used to always complain about the weather. And now I only complain about one thing regarding the weather, and that's the heat. We are not used to the heat in the Netherlands. And the summers are getting warmer and warmer over here. I do notice that. I mean, upcoming weekend is going to be 33, 32 degrees here. And you guys will probably say, if you live in America, that's nothing. But we don't have air conditioning in our houses because we never had those hot summers so much. So without air conditioning in the house, and our houses have most of the time a lot of big windows, and the sun is burning on the windows the whole bloody day. It is getting, if I don't do anything about it, and I don't have air conditioning, it's getting to 30 degrees inside my bloody living room. And it's no fun. I can tell you that it ain't no fun. So that's the only thing I still complain about, because I can't do anything about it, and I don't have the money to buy a expensive air conditioning system in my house. So yeah. But for the rest, I started to stop complaining about it, because I'm looking at life a different way as a spiritual person right now. Now I do, if it's raining 3-4 days in a row, I would probably, because I'm used to saying that, say, oh, already again, the rain. But I'm not fussed about it anymore. I'm not so negative about it anymore. You know why? Because I'm thinking that, okay, Mother Nature needs to drink too. Mother Nature also needs the water. So it's good. So instead of saying, it's raining, blah, you can say, yeah, Mother Nature needs it at the moment. Because if it's always dry, it's not good for nature either. So let it rain, I don't care. Then I use an umbrella, or I stay inside, or I walk in the rain. We used to do everything, even when it's raining anyways. We are used to that. And also on top of that, I appreciate the fact that we're living in a country where we can see the nature change 4 times a year. We have fall, summer, winter. Hold on. Which one am I? Spring, sorry. I was like, which one I'm missing? Spring, summer, fall, and winter. And all those seasons, we do actually physically go through those 4 seasons, and we see nature change 4 times a year. And I'm thinking, that's amazing. It's amazing that we are in a situation in the Netherlands that we can see that change 4 times a year. What if you live in a country that's always hot, always sunny, never cold, never snow, never nothing? Doesn't that get boring at the end? Or if you live in a very cold country where it's always snowing and cold and freezing, I think that gets boring very soon, right? I mean, I'm just saying. What I'm trying to say is I don't complain about the weather so much anymore. Besides the heat, I can't stand the heat so much. I can't. And I will probably still complain if it's really cold. I mean, I'm Dutch. It's in my genes. It's like, but I do tend to look at it differently. So complaining a lot about the weather, it's no use to do that. You can't change it. And I think it's still a pretty thing that we have different kinds of weather here. I just wish that we had some more snow in the winter, but okay.
So I don't mind, you know, I can cope with cold weather. I like the cold weather, in fact. But in the Netherlands, you get, especially in the winter, you get this, you know, gray, depressive winters, wet winters.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, they're not really appealing.
It would be nice to have snow and ice or something.
Not the kind of
I agree.
Climate weather I like. Okay, I like the cold.
I mean, if it's cold, if it is cold and you don't like the cold, then at least it's like, okay, I don't mind the cold if I can see snow and ice. But if it's only freezing and there's nothing else and it's just gray and rainy, I can understand that that's a bit depressing maybe. But still, it is what it is. The universe decides to throw the weather out here. And yeah, you know what? Like I said, the fact that we have so much rain, we have an amazing agriculture, like growing stuff, is because we have so much rain. So it always has positives. I'm just saying.
Cold, but I like when it is very snowy, when it is icy, when it is dry cold. But the wet, grey, depressive cold in the Netherlands is not something I like.
Yeah, I think this was his last point, so I will stop right here because it's going to be a long video already. I understand certain points, what he's saying, absolutely agree with those. Some, I think, is also a little bit personal opinion and taste, like nature and stuff like that, and the weather and whatever. let's say, what reasons would I have to immigrate to another country? Because I did think about it. And what reasons for me would I have? What would be the biggest reasons for me to leave the Netherlands if I would leave? That would be the housing crisis, the high cost of living, and also because I am a nature lover, so I would like to explore way more beautiful nature than I'm used to. Like I said, it's not boring, like he is saying. I still think that it's beautiful. Nature in general is beautiful. I would not call it boring, but I would like to experience more other nature, like mountains and waterfalls and beautiful forests. Like, we don't know those kind of forests. I would love that, because, well, that's then one of those reasons, I would say. Yeah, those three, mostly those three reasons I could name why I would want to leave the Netherlands. But guys, let me know in the comments below. Do you agree that the new Dutch dream is to leave the Netherlands? Or are you still very happy here? Let me know in the comments below. And if you live somewhere else, another country, let me know if you would leave your country to live somewhere else and how the situation is over there. Let me know in the comments below. I want to wish you a fantastic day with a lot of love and light and everything you desire. And I will see you guys soon. Bye bye. Take care.